Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. We talk about the problems people face in their day to day lives. Let's start with the video. My older brother has always been a little cold hearted. Now, I wouldn't say he was a psychopath, just kind of toxic until this situation took place. He was just the kind who was always on top of things every time he did something, whether that be music, sports, or studies. Don't get me wrong, I was a good student too, but my brother just took things on another level. It was like whatever he did, he managed to ace at, and he knew that he had a load of potential from the get go, as he never had a lack of admirers around him. Anywhere he went, whatever he did, had people amazed and admiring him. So, according to his words, he'd never waste time around people that seemed like a waste of his time. That is, normal people leading normal lives. This is where my brother and I always clashed. This is what our arguments were always about, and although they always ended up being resolved, this time was just different. You see, my brother thought that he could use people and play around with them whenever he was bored. Unfortunately, with his charm, a countless number of people fell for it too and got played by him. All throughout high school and college, being junior to my brother, I had to take crap from his teachers and people who he had used once he left after making all the mess he possibly could. This was all our arguments would be about, and the only way my parents knew to diffuse it was by siding with him because, according to them, he was just having a little fun by breaking the hearts of all these girls and using the people who he called his friends. Well, I guess as time went by, with no repercussions for him, and as far as I was behind his back, cleaning up after him, he thought that he could win the world. As you all know, that is simply not possible. There is only so much I can do as a college student myself. I first gave a taste of this to my brother when he was being accused of stealing a project idea from a group of guys who were a year junior to him. This was a huge deal in my college, especially in our department, and his name got dragged through the mud. It was so horrible that it was taken to the principal of our university, where, unfortunately, he was given no punishment except for having to stop working on the project and threatening him with lawyers. Well, the thing is that, even though he had to face no repercussions for his actions, he did face a lot of backlash from his batch and the junior batch. And when it came to me, I simply told everyone that this wasn't the first time he had done something like this, making things harder for him. Well, this broke out the first huge argument between us. I even argued with my parents who tried to get between us, and even though this argument went nowhere, I was proud that at least I was able to set some firm boundaries. Unfortunately, that didn't seem to work because at the end of the college year, my brother was able to get a startup working, which sort of did great. This just erased all the ill that people were talking about him, and he just started going back to his old ways. Well, he graduated with amazing grades, and this new startup has been doing better with every passing day. So, to celebrate the same, my brother had taken us for a celebratory dinner at a restaurant. I won't deny the dinner was amazing and we all had a great time after a while, but little did I know this is the place where not only mine but also my brother's life would turn upside down. You see, after our dinner, my brother called the manager and inquired about the girl who was sitting on the table in the corner of the restaurant. He offered to pay for her, and after the waiter communicated this to her, she was obviously flattered. This was not shocking to me or my parents. He often did this trick to pick up on girls, and honestly, I can't help but accept the fact that this girl indeed did look beautiful. Well, he pays for her meal, and while we leave, he slips his card on her table. I think nothing of this. I just think how pathetic my brother is for trying to pick up girls everywhere he went, and I just rolled my eyes. I think to myself, that is it. I didn't give that exchange a single thought for the upcoming months until one day, after about 5 months that the situation had gone down, I met this same woman who my brother had previously paid for outside my college. She looked quite nervous and sick, but breathed a sigh of relief when she saw me. I feel quite shocked to see her here, and even more when she approaches me, telling me that we need to talk. I told her sure, and we went to a cafe close to my college. There, she sat me down and started to speak. She was very nervous and getting more and more shaky as she explained to me how, after the day she and my brother had met, they hooked up a couple of times and she had gotten pregnant. When she told my brother this, he immediately ghosted her. She knew nothing except for his name, phone number, the university he attended, and the company that he worked for. So that is why she was here. Her parents had kicked her out right after they found out that she was pregnant, and being a newly graduate, she was having a horrible time finding a job. I was dumbfounded hearing all of this because I had no idea my brother was doing all of this behind our backs. This wasn't it all, though, because she then asked me if there was any way I could help her sue my brother. I was even more shocked at this. I knew my brother's life would be screwed if my conservative parents found out that he had gotten a girl pregnant before marriage. I knew I didn't have crazy money, but I knew with all my savings, I would be able to help her. So here is where I'm conflicted. I told her I would think about it, and she was understanding of the same. She insisted that if I helped her now, she would return the money to me ASAP. But for me, it's not about the money. It's more about my brother and if he deserves this. It's about trusting this girl and helping her. This is obviously a huge deal, and I don't want to end up doing something that would ruin everyone's life, and that is what brings me here. WIBTA, if I help a random girl sue my brother because he got her pregnant and is refusing to take responsibility? Well, after reading all of your words, I got even more encouraged to take this long awaited action that will let my brother have a taste of karma that he deserves. It's been a month since I last posted, so sit back because I'm going to give you all a rundown of everything that has gone down so far. The very next day, I and Avni, the girl who my brother got pregnant, went to the lawyers. I also started to help her to find a job in the field that she wished to work in, and she's been nothing but grateful about the same. So, about 2 weeks after this all went down, my brother received the documents from the lawyers about the case that we had filed. My brother was enraged, but for the first time, I could see the fear in his eyes as he knew he would need my parents' help to get through this. So, when he sat him down and told him everything, to say that they were angry would be an understatement. After years worth of babying him, my parents finally came into their senses and told him that they weren't going to help him get out of this situation because apparently he had sinned and needed to face consequences of his actions. Well, I don't know about the sinning part, but I definitely agree with the part where they say he needed to face the consequences of his actions. So the first hearing takes place about 20 days after my brother received the letter from the lawyers. My brother is there by himself, whereas I'm here standing beside Avni. My brother is shocked when he sees me walk into the courtroom with Avni. He instantly realizes I'm the one who did all this, and the fact that the first hearing itself asked him to get a DNA test. He just knew he was screwed. Well, as soon as he gets back from the first hearing itself, he makes sure to make it known to my parents and relatives that I'm the one who has done this. I'm not surprised when my phone starts blowing up with calls and texts expressing their disappointment because I got involved in my brother's matters, but honestly, I don't feel that way, and I guess right now that is all that matters because there's no coming back. Phew, 8 months since my last post, and calling this a roller coaster would be an understatement. The court case was closed 3 months ago, and I'm happy to say that my brother was made to sign away his rights as a parent but pay child support. He was also being sued by Avni for emotional distress, and she won that case as well. My brother lost a lot of money in this process, and as a result, had to sell most of his stocks from his company and move in with a friend. It only makes me wonder how much easier his life would be if he didn't act like a deadbeat and step up. As for me, Avni has returned me the majority of the money I spent for her during this process through the money my brother's been paying her, and also her new job. One surprising thing that has come out of all this is the involvement of my parents and Avni's parents both into the life of her beautiful baby girl who she gave birth to 5 months ago. I'm still not close to my parents. My contact with my brother has completely stopped, but the fact that I have found my family in Avni means a lot. She has even made me the godparent of her daughter. This was both a learning process and something that taught me to never be like my brother, regardless of how much success I receive. I hope the life of everyone involved in this situation only goes well. Thank you all for your advice and support. NTA, this girl will sue your brother regardless if she gets your support or not. So I'd say better hop onto the ride and get your revenge as well, because if not now, a couple of months ahead, your brother is bound to be doomed through his behavior. NTA, your brother is a horrible person, and being sued for child support won't even give him the little bit of karma he deserves to face. If this is his behavior at this age itself, I can only wonder what he has stored for himself in the time span of 10, 20 years. Regardless of what you do, I would suggest you stay as far away from him as possible. For context, this was said in therapy. However, this was said in front of kids younger than me. So, the deal, my mom died when I was 10. I'm female. I'm 16 now. My mom had been sick for a little while, and pretty quickly after my dad told me he was dating Jessica. Jessica and my mom had history. Jessica and my dad worked together, and it was pretty well known that Jessica liked my dad and wanted to be with him. Mom despised her. There were a couple of fights I was present for because Jessica had shown up to see my dad at home and Mom didn't like it. Dad always told her he would make sure Jessica left us alone, but I often wonder. When he told me he was dating Jessica after Mom, I was really hurt and angry. It felt like a huge betrayal, and while I will never know for sure, please don't tell me it's obvious there was something going on, you can never be sure until someone owns up to it. I will always at least believe Dad wanted to be with her instead of Mom. Jessica has a daughter who's 7 years younger than me. She and my dad now have a couple of kids together as well. I was never okay with them, and I have never been an active participant in their family. I keep my head down, I ignore them as much as I can, and I do everything in my power to just not be included. It doesn't work well. They always try to include me. Jessica's daughter adores me and wants me to be her big sister. My dad keeps telling me to give them a chance, to try and let go of what my mom would think and jump in with him to a family who are here for us now. 18 months ago, Dad decided therapy was the last thing he could do to make things work. So me, him, Jessica, and her daughter have been in therapy ever since. My 5-year-old half sibling has been joining us for 2 months now. I don't engage in therapy. Even when I had alone time with the therapist, I didn't want to make things work with them or find a way to heal the family. And that's what she is here for. She has made that clear. So we would sit in silence, or I would refuse to contribute. Then a real push came last week. I don't know why, but it came from Jessica most of all. She kept pushing and saying how they were my family and they wanted to feel wanted by me. That's when I spoke up. I said I had been clear from day one that I did not want to be a part of their family and that I am counting down the days to my 18th birthday so I can move out and cut contact with them. This was said in the presence of 2 kids, which my dad, Jessica, and the therapist took issue with. Jessica's daughter got what I meant, and she sobbed and begged me not to leave. She begged me to be her sister. When I didn't comfort or reassure her, I was called cruel for saying what I did in front of her and my half sibling. I was grounded for a week, and honestly, it was one of the best weeks in a long time because nobody talked to me. But now therapy has become about why I'm wrong and how I'm behaving in a cruel and bullying way. AITA? This therapist isn't very good at her job. You should never be punished for what you say in therapy. I would tell them next session that there's no point in talking at all in any other sessions if you would just get punished for participating. If they didn't want the younger kids to hear what had to be said, they shouldn't be part of the session at all. NTA. Stay strong until you're 18 and start working on a practical plan for how to move out when the time comes. Best of luck. NTA, your dad and his new wife are trying to use therapy to manipulate you. Your therapist is a shitty one if they'd set up sessions so that announcements such as yours can come out in front of the younger children. I think it's unfortunate that the younger ones had to hear it, but the adults in this situation are despicable and at fault. I'm sorry this is happening to you. Adults can be selfish. Keep your head down, and if you decide it's best for you to go, no low contact as soon as you can, do it. Maybe someday your dad will realize he caused all of this, but I doubt it. So I, 33 female, have three siblings, Ben, 30, Kate, 29, and Chris, 28. When I was 14, our mom passed away due to health issues. It hit us all hard as we were a very close family. Our mom was an amazing cook, and all of us had this one dessert that we mainly made with her. I used to make homemade ice cream with her. Ben used to make macaroons with mom. Kate made the best cookies with her. And Chris and mom made cheesecake together. It was our dessert to make with mom, and we looked forward to our turn to make our dessert. When she passed, I think we all still clung to our memories of her cooking as it was a massive part of her. Our family became very food oriented and we found comfort in that. Our dad learned how to cook her recipes and we still have fun cooking together. However, all of us kids still find the most comfort in our desserts. After about 2 years later, my dad started to date Linda, who had a son, Liam, 16, who I knew from school. Linda was very nice and we all got along, and Liam and I were already friendly with each other, so we quickly became friends, and my siblings also liked him. They later got married and we've been happy. Although I don't consider them my family, I am still very close to them. During adulthood, my siblings come to me when they have some problems. As we all live close together, they usually come to my house. Because of this, for years now, I've had their dessert in stock. We've just adjusted some of the recipes so that they freeze well. So if my siblings need to come over to vent, I usually just bring out their food to defrost and we can eat together, and it has been working great for us. The problem is that Liam found out about this and asked why I never keep some of his favorite food in, even though we're very close. I tried to explain in the nicest way possible that this was a family thing and that it was between my siblings and our mom. He was still upset, saying that he thought we had a better relationship than just friends and feels like I value him less. I tried to apologize, but he left and just asked for space. I talked to my dad, and he said that I shouldn't have to include him on this as it is a special thing between us and that Liam will get over it. But I feel a bit guilty as it won't be hard to do and would mean a lot to him. NTA, it's a tradition between you and your biological siblings. Liam does not have to be included in the tradition that never included him. There are other ways that you and Liam could bond, but this isn't one of the ways. NAH, I can understand you wanting to keep up the tradition you and your siblings had with your mom and how that is special for you all. It's also easy to see how Liam can feel like he's been excluded. Maybe a compromise? You could honor your mom's memory and the love that she showed you by finding a dessert for you and Liam to cook together. I know the specific food items have specific memories attached to them, but maybe brownies or cake could become something for Liam and you to bond over. Make him feel like part of the family, but keep the core traditions you had with your